So welcome to Llaves de Casa. This is a City of Fresno home ownership initiative. We're going to play a really quick video for you. Midna, if you want to get that going. Okay, so a little bit about us. We are the voice for Hispanic real estate and proud champions of home ownership for the Hispanic community in and around Fresno, Madera, California. Forgive my voice, I have the flu today. So our I lost my place. Our NAREP Fresno Madera chapter provides community outreach, industry, educational, and business networking events. Thanks to the gracious contributions of our Fresno Madera chapter, board of directors, members, and sponsors. So my name is Aldiva Rubalcava. People call me Allie. I am your 2022 NAREP Fresno president and the president of Recovery Credit Repair. With us, we also have Miss Lucy Sandoval of Iron Key Real Estate. She is our 2022 NAREP Fresno Vice President and our incoming 2023 NAREP Fresno President. And we also have with us Miss Midna Garcia, who is our local realtor with Envision Realty and our 2021 NAREP Fresno Past President. With us today also, you're going to meet Pablo Estrada of Core Home Loans. We have Alicia with Self-Help Enterprises. We have Rosie with Self-Help Federal Credit Union. And we have Reyes Reese from Union Bank. And so we just have a lot of great speakers for you today. So what do you want to learn about the home buying process?
Well, we are looking, we just know that we want to look into buying a house early to mid next year.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're just kind of looking at different opportunities, grants.
We don't know anything about the home buying process. So anything that you guys would like to give us, that would be very helpful.
Well, we're happy you're at the right place. So thank you so much for joining us today. Midna, next slide, please. So things we'll be covering today. Number 1, why buy now? Number 2, realities of our market today. Number 3, 6 simple steps to home ownership. And number 4, financing. And number 5, the next steps. So why buy now? Midna, do you want to tell us why we should start looking now?
Absolutely. So one of the reasons is the pride of home ownership. It is important because it does create stability and security, a sense of community, freedom to customize tax benefits, and it does build wealth over time. Number 2, it's a long-term investment and it does grow. It does build equity over time versus when you're renting, you're building somebody else's equity. Value appreciation over time is historically known that the value of a home does go up. Debt pay down. So definitely many benefits to home ownership. Number 3, interest rates have been around 5%. You have seen them go up and down. They've hit 8%. but definitely do not let that stop you. Home ownership is the best way to create wealth overall. And then NAREP does provide national stats throughout, and we definitely would be able to provide that to you if you would like to have a little bit more data in regards to home ownership across the United States. Lucy, at this time, would you like to come on in and go over things to consider when buying?
Yes, of course.
Gracias.
Can you just put all the slides? Yes. So these are a couple of things that you need to consider when you are in the process of buying a home. So it's very important that you have security. If you, for some reason, need to change, don't recommend it that you change, but everything you have to be discussed with the lender. Can you go to number 2? Financial. Number 2 will be financial. So your credit score is very important. You need to work on your credit, and you need to save for the down payment. So there's that misconception that you need to have 20% to actually buy a house. We have a few lenders in here. They're going to be able to tell you more information, but that is a myth. Like, you can buy a house with a lower down payment, and there's programs that can help you to cover that cost even. And number 3, it's going to be the payment shock. So too expensive. So for some people, they need to consider the difference, paying rent and then paying a mortgage. So you need to do that consideration and see if, that payment, it's possible within your budget or not. Because sometimes people are like going from renting a room to want to buy in a home, so they get shocked with that payment. But of course, we're going to discuss what amount you can afford and that you feel comfortable with that payment. Short-term ownership. So us as real estate agents, we're going to talk to you and we're going to discuss what is the goal for you on that property. So if you want to keep that property for a long time, or do you want to keep as a short term? So we will discuss, appreciation and all of that, because there's some neighborhoods that they don't grow a lot in appreciation, and there's others that they will. So we will discuss with you. We will sit down and you will let us know your goals, and we will tell you this is the right property for investment or the right. Okay, so realities of our market. So this is changing, but
Lucy, I think we're having some disconnection issues, kind of bouncing in and out.
no.
You're echoing.
No worries. Let me go ahead and I'll go over this while Lucy, you take care of your connectivity issue. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Thank you, Lucy. Okay, the realities of our market. So the current average home price we're running with the current changes, we were running pretty high, about 480. Now we're about 380 to 450, somewhere in between there, depending what area you're looking at. Prices have gone down in the last 2 months, which is a good thing for a buyer. So this is a great time to go out there and take a look at homes and be in a position to be able to negotiate. And a realtor like Lucy or myself will definitely be able to help you through that. Also, buyer's market versus seller's market. So as you just heard, the market has turned down, and we're definitely in a position where the buyer is able to negotiate and ask for a little bit more leverage when it comes to buying a home. Interest rates. Rates do go up and down every day. The lenders will go over that. And when you do lock a rate, that is done during the time when you are in contract, not before. A lot of people ask, and I lock it now? It looks pretty good right now. No, you got to wait until you're in contract. Once you're in contract, your lender will keep a pulse on that rate along with you and ask if it's okay to go ahead and lock it down, because that's going to be for the duration of your loan or until you refinance. Growth of area, as we all know, the area has grown quite a bit in the last few years. There has been an increase. We do have people coming in from the Bay Area, a lot of relocation right now. Affordability is something that we're dealing with across the United States. So people are moving around. Fresno happens to be one of the most affordable areas in California. All right, let's go ahead and keep moving through here. All right, owning versus renting. So what is the difference between owning and renting? When you own a home, let's say you purchase it for $350,000 and you pay $2,500 per month towards your mortgage. Over the next 30 years, you will have paid $900,000. The difference is obviously you own the asset that has grown in value well over the last 30 years. Rent, when you rent, you're paying, let's say you're paying $2,200 towards your landlord's mortgage. Over 30 years, you will have paid $792,000 and you own nothing. And that's assuming that the rent doesn't go up. As we all know, rent continues to increase. I just saw stats from HUD that indicated Fresno has gone up 28% when it comes to rental properties. So you can see why it's a struggle and why more than ever, we're insisting that you move towards buying a home. Homeownership is definitely the way to go. And yes, I'm probably a little biased when it comes to it because I am a realtor, but I truly do believe in homeownership. I have been homeless myself, so I know the importance of owning a home, and I truly do believe in it. Putting all jokes aside, right? Lucy, are you there? No, all right, let's see. There we go. Lucy, you want to go ahead and take over?
Yes, can you hear me now? Yes, can you guys hear me? Perfect. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna simplify this, but since you're the only ones, we can go back and we can review everything together. So first of all, it will be hire your agent. So of course you need to interview a couple of people and make sure that it's the right fit for you and they're gonna work for you and you can trust them. Because this is, you know, a big investment, so you gotta make sure that you're working with somebody that you can trust, and they will take your best interest in mind. So the second step will be secure pre-approval and financing. So once you already make up your mind, like you said, you want to know the process, you need to find a lender. So you find your realtor, then you find a lender. Your lender is going to go with everything, all the steps to make sure that you can finance the purchase. After you have your pre-approval and everything, they give us the green light to start shopping for homes. Then it's number 3. We will go and find a home. After that, of course, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna discuss what are your wants and needs, and we're gonna go see properties. Once you find the property that you love, that is step number 4, we're gonna make an offer and we're gonna go with negotiations. Like Mirna mentioned, like the market, it's different. So right now the market, it's more open to negotiations. So don't be scared of the price tag. That's why you need to hire a professional that can negotiate for you and get you a best deal that they can get you. And then number 5, once we get into escrow, then we as agents, we recommend that you guys perform inspections, even though sometimes, like, you know that this is an investment, this is a new home or new home for you, you don't know what kind of things are in the house. So we always recommend inspections. The most common ones are home inspection, pest inspection, and, you know, maybe plumbing, electricity, roof. It will depend on the age of the house and all of that. Once we go through all the inspections, we will sit down with you. If there's anything that need to be repaired, we go back to negotiations. We take care of those negotiations. Sometimes, you know, they agree, sometimes they don't, but we can make it work. Once everything is solved and you're happy, they're happy, then that's the last step. We close and you guys are a homeowner.
Thank you, Lucy. Appreciate that.
Yes.
I have a quick question for the inspection. Is that an extra cost to have people come and look at everything?
Yes, and that is an extra cost, that it's an out-of-pocket expense. So that is something that is not refundable. So let's say that you guys, I guess I tell my clients, this is an investment. So it's an investment, you're putting it in that price of those inspections so that you know and you're 100% sure that you want to get into this house. It's just better to know, not to know, you know? So I always recommend those are out-of-pocket expenses. I see it as an investment, non-refundable.
And what's the average cost of those? I know, like, I'm sure they're always different, but is there like a ballpark?
Yes. Yeah, and it will depend on the size of the house. So it will depend on the size of the house, you know, if it's a single story, 2-story, but it's around like 400 to 700. So it will depend on the size and everything. And of course you need to add, you know, if there's a pool, then you need to add a different pool inspection, and sometimes it adds up. So every single inspection has its own different price. But for example, the pest inspection, it's only like $80, $90. So it will depend.
Yeah, and you know, it's always some of the basic things we like to recommend, right, Lucy, is the top four is going to be your home inspection, your pest inspection, the roof, and the line inspection, which is your plumbing. Those are the main four. And then obviously, as your home inspector goes through the house, there'll be probably additional if they recommend them, but those are your basic. And she kind of gave you a range of the different prices, but I always say a lot about $800 for inspections.
Yes, and it will depend on the property. As we see properties, you know, day in, day out. So we will tell you, you know what, like I recommend this inspection for this house. I know that sometimes those inspections can add up, but we kind of know what kind of issues we see in certain neighborhoods or certain areas. So we will tell you, I recommend, and it's our job to tell you. And if you're like, you know what, I love the house, I have the money to fix everything, so I don't care about the inspections, I want to buy it as is, then at least it's our job to let you know that there's inspections that you need to perform. And if you choose not to, that's okay too. That's okay.
Great questions.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lucy and Midna. So next, we're going to have Miss Alicia with Self-Help Enterprises, a certified counselor who's going to be discussing their wonderful programs that they have available. Alicia, take it away.
Yes, good morning. I'm with Self-Help Enterprises. We are a nonprofit organization, and I'm going to be talking today about an amazing program that we have called Gateway. This is a homeownership and counseling program that we provide for individuals who are thinking about owning a home and starting the process if they don't know exactly where to start. So, next slide. So Self-Help Enterprises is a national recognized community development organization. We are in the affordable housing industry. We've been around since 1965, and we have helped many families obtain the American dream to own a home. Next slide. So what we do at our Gateway program, if you can go to the previous slide, please. Okay. So what we are going to be doing through our Gateway program with participants is we're going to determine what their goals are as far as homeownership. And that we're going to do by sending a packet that it's going to give you information about some of the things that we're going to be asking for. The first thing that we're going to do is pull your credit. That helps us figure out where you're at as far as your credit score. And that is a charge of $25. That's non-refundable. And that is a very basic step so that we are able to have a counselor, a homeownership counselor that's going to meet with you to go over where you're at as far as being mortgage ready. Next slide, please.
Tanya, do you guys have a question? Okay.
That was the raised hand was from earlier.
Okay. We're also going to sit down with you to understand your wants and needs. We will help you create a budget so that we are able to save for some of the inspections, or maybe some of the things that come along with owning a home. And then we're going to find out what your what an affordable payment looks for you. Understanding the steps of purchasing a house. You will take a class, a homeownership class. And this class typically is required for many of the down payment assistance programs that we also offer through self-help enterprises, or that we have other partners that offer those as well. So the coach is going to sit down with you, as I mentioned, and it's going to go over all of these different programs and some of the ways that you may qualify for them. There's down payment assistance, there's different cities and counties that offer home, Cal Home, very different programs. And in that way, we're able to see kind of where you're at, because our goal is to make sure that your payment is affordable. The other thing we're going to do is we basically have 3 pathways. Once you are deemed, if you will, mortgage ready. So the first one is going to be, if you choose to build your own home, we have a program that can help you, that will help you do that. And that is through a sweat equity model, which means that you will not have to come up with a down payment. Your labor serves as a down payment. And some of the projects that we have available for this program are in Turlock. We'll be having one in Chowchilla, Planada, Madera, West Fresno, Shafter, Goshen, and Lindsay. Those are the projects that we have or be having for if you choose to go that route. The other choice that you have will be infill homes. We also have a program where we build the homes. And if you qualify for those programs, then you're able to choose an area where we are building those homes. Again, the goal is for you to have that affordable payment. And the third pathway will be if you are already working with a lender, we will get you mortgage ready through our counseling services. You can access the down payment assistance as well, and choose your own realtor if you don't think that any of those sites that we have are to your liking, or that you would want to live in those particular areas. Then you can go and choose whatever area you want. If you qualify for our down payment assistance, you can access that as well, layer the funding, and then choose a realtor to be able to find you a home. Any questions so far?
So I know that there's like the city of Fresno like has a grant for first-time homeowners. Is this like, what's the info? Like, do you guys like help navigate through all those kind of things as well, or is it just?
Was that separate?
Yes.
You do.
Yes, we can gather the information for you. We'll once you sit down with your coach, then you're going to let them know where you want to purchase, and we'll see if there's other programs available for you. And then we'll send you to the programs that are available for you and that we feel that you can qualify for.
That's awesome. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Next slide. So Daniel, if you decide that you want to participate in the Gateway program through self-help, again, there's no charge for the program, only the $25 credit fee for the credit report. If we find that maybe some people tend to have some collections or things that you need to work towards, the coach will advise you on that. We don't repair credit. If there is a credit challenge, we will only give you the resources to be able to do that. So you will do your homework. You will do sort of the legwork yourself. But again, if you do decide to participate, we will send you a link with a portal where you can start inputting all your information, and we'll ask for some documents so we can assess everything and we can start the process there. Okay. Next slide. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much, Alicia. So next we have with us Mr. Pablo Estrada with Core Home Loans. and Pablo's going to be talking to us about some down payment assistance. So go ahead, Pablo, take it away.
Good morning, guys. How you doing? All right.
Doing well.
This is the part that everybody wants to know. Down payment assistance, right? All right, here we go. Go ahead. So my name is Pablo Estrada. I run a local office here in Fresno called Core Home Loans, and I'll be giving you a breakdown of how the homeownership lending piece ties together with the whole process. Okay, go ahead. All right, so this will be your first step. We actually consider step number one. So if you ever want to buy a house and you go speak with a realtor, the very first thing that they will tell you is they'll ask you if you have already secured financing. In other words, if you've been pre-approved already. Go ahead. All right, so this will be the steps here. As for referrals, it's highly encouraged as a first-time buyer that you get multiple opinions. From lender to lender, you can actually see that there's different programs available depending on what they focus on. So it's highly recommended if you want to ask for referrals, interview all of those referrals and go with whoever you feel the most comfortable. By law, you choose your lender, you choose your realtor, okay? So no one will make you have to go with someone specifically. You can specifically choose a lender, specifically choose a realtor. They might give you referrals, and same thing, you can always interview them. The next step will be preparing your documentation for the application to get approved. So lender will ask you for some documents that will be needed to determine your qualifications, okay? And from there, we'll determine what pay and loan option fits you best, which means that we will let you know what your interest rate, down payment, out of pocket will look like before you start your home search. Next slide. Your next step is to there's a difference between a pre-approval and a pre-qualification. So as you can see on this slide, we kind of highlighted what the differences are. So for example, if you were to call us and give us verbal information, that will fit under the pre-qualification, which means it's not a full verification. We wouldn't have any of your documents. It would just be more of a verbal, rough estimate. What you want to do is get a pre-approval, and that's a formal application with a lender. They go over your income, your credit, and your assets. We will give you a formal commitment in a form of a letter, which you will have that with you when you go look for a house. It talks about how much you can borrow, what is your interest rate, and that puts you in a stronger bracket, because what happens is when you make an offer, the sellers take a look at your qualification letter. And if you show up with a pre-qualification and your competition has a pre-approval, they will most likely focus on that versus a pre-qualification. Next slide, please. And then you feel free to ask any questions, since I believe Jessica's now on here too. So feel free to ask any questions as we move along, okay? So the next thing will be creating a budget. So what we do when we meet with you, we identify your expenses. It's called the debt to income ratio. So that will let us know exactly what you qualify for. So DTI, debt to income, it's a percentage of your income can go towards your bills, such as car loans, credit cards, student loans, plus your home. And we take that's how we know how much you qualify for, okay? And that will determine the amount that you can spend on your new home. Sometimes it happens one way or the other. Sometimes people qualify for more than what they actually want to spend. And sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes people say, hey, I can afford that payment, but on paper, they don't make enough to qualify. So it is our job, not yours, to know what your debt ratio is. It's just to collect your documents. We will take care of figuring that out with you. Make sense? And from there, we'll create the right expectations. Same thing. Sometimes people look at a house, $500,000. They think the payment is going to be $800 a month. So we create the right expectations, right? So we want to make sure that your payment fits the home that you're looking for, and that you can qualify, not only qualify, but you feel comfortable with the payment. Go ahead. All right, so things that we look at about your credit. Ratios is important. So people always want to know, how can I have a good credit? This right here, it's your key that you want to memorize. Credit card ratio is important. People think that as long as I pay on time, that's the key to good credit. That's only half of the battle. You want to have accounts, especially revolving credit, such as credit cards, not be maxed out. So that way you can maximize your credit score along with paying on time. You want to make sure you don't have late payments if possible. However, to not discourage anyone, having collections or negative accounts doesn't translate to being declined. There are programs that can help you if you don't have a perfect or great credit score. And new accounts too, people don't realize that when someone opens credit, for the first few months, while you establish a payment history, your credit might dip a little bit. So one thing we highly tell people is don't open any new debt when you're trying to apply for a loan. Next slide. Okay, so now we're going to start talking about the mortgages, the options. So there's 3 decisions that we look at. It's how much down payment you're going to need based on your qualification, what interest rate you're going to qualify, that will be based on the program you end up at, and the kind of credit score you have, and term is how long is going to be your loan. The most common loan that exists in America is a 30-year mortgage. However, that's not the only options. There's 20, 15, 10-year loans, obviously higher payment, but they come at a lower interest rate. And more recently, because homes have, continued to increase the prices and interest rates have increased a little bit over the last 12 months, a 40-year loan is going to start becoming a new thing. So longer term to equals a bit of a lower payment, more affordable house. And as you talk to your lender, they will help you figure out what it is that you're trying to do, so they can help you with giving you the best option available.
If you sign up, let's say a 30-year loan, but you decide to like put away more money each month, do you get penalized for that, or is it?
No, there is no penalties anymore for most of the loans. There's a few programs out there that exist still that do have prepayment penalties, but for the most part, there is no we call that prepayment penalty. Prepayment is if you pay it anytime sooner than your actual term. So particularly in my house, I pay extra every month. My goal is to pay it off sooner, but I have the lower payment secured just in case. You never know. But if you say, hey, let me throw $100, it's actually highly encouraged. Over time, you will save a lot of money if you can afford to do that. And we highly, highly recommend it. Next slide. And again, feel free to ask any questions, you guys. We highly encourage that. Okay, so here's a breakdown of a mortgage payment. We call it PITI, which includes your principal. That means the balance of the loan every month goes down as you make payments. Interest covers the interest rate that you're being charged on the loan. It also includes taxes and insurance. So when you hear that term PITI, you can almost think as your all-inclusive payment. It includes everything that has to do with the house. Obviously, no utility bills and stuff like that, but everything that has to do with the loan. Next slide. Can you guys hear me okay? Sorry, my camera kind of unplugged for a second. Okay, so down payment and closing costs. So I'm gonna read this real quick. Based on your pre-approval amount, it's going to be depending on the loan. It can vary from 3 to 20% down. All closing costs associated with transfer of title, and where will those funds come from? So what this talks about is knowing the cost of buying a house. There is 2 costs that you want to be very aware of. It's a down payment and closing cost. These are related to the loan. Keep in mind, as you buy a house, there's also inspections that's related to the property. But this is for the loan. What we determine when we see you as a customer is figuring out what kind of down payment you're going to need and how much closing costs you're going to incur. And that will, as it says there, will be based on your approval amount, and it can vary. Some people have money, big amount to put as a down payment. That's highly encouraged because the less you owe, the less is your payment, of course. But not everybody has a lot of money set aside. So there are programs that can help you with that 3%, which is your minimum down as a first-time buyer. And there are programs that can help you with the closing cost. Every case is individual, so we just give you this broad idea just to encourage you to seek a pre-approval, and then you can figure out from there what's going to be your best option and what you feel most comfortable with. Next slide, please. Okay, so here's the program that we offer different programs, but for Llaves de tu Casa, we are focusing on one down payment assistance that has helped already a few families that we've helped. So this one's called CalHFA, and CalHFA is a California Housing Finance Agency. It's a state program, and what they do, they give you a program that can help you with your down payment and your closing costs. So it makes your out-of-pocket a lot less than what it would be if you were to just use a traditional loan for financing. And these are the requirements. You must be a first-time home buyer. Feel free to open those 5 bullets. You must have a minimum credit score of 640. You must be within the income limit. The reason why this one is very popular, guys, most of the down payment assistance programs are only geared towards low-income families, which is usually families making less than $50,000 a year. People that make more than that find themselves in a tough situation because they haven't saved money for their down payment and closing costs. However, they make too much for their programs. So this one has a special requirement. Your household income can be up to $159,000. Even at that, it's $159 per applicant, which means that I have families that make more than that. With the income of one of the 2 in the family, they will qualify to buy the house. So we have ignored the income of the second family member. So this program really fits a lot of families that make okay money, and then they don't have enough money saved up for a big down payment or closing cost. Again, going back about the debt to income ratio, we look at that number to be 45%. What that translates to is all of your bills, your house, credit cards, car payments, everything cannot be more than 45% of what you make. And it is our job to check out what that number is. And this can be layered with the traditional loans. Traditional loans are conventional financing, FHA, which is a government loan, and USDA, which is an agricultural loan. So we layer the assistance to help you qualify for any of those 3 programs. And to tell you how much roughly that is, you receive up to about 6%. A purchase, it's usually about 8 to 9% between your down payment and closing costs. So if you receive a 6% assistance, you're only coming in with only 2 to 3% total out of pocket to be able to buy your house. And the money, it's a loan, so you have to pay it back. So it's not free. It's not free money, but you do have to pay it back when you sell the house or whenever you refinance. All right, and that sums up my portion of things. We're gonna pass it on to Reyes, who is with Union Bank and has another grant program. Before I go, because there's only a few of us, Daniel, do you or Jessica, do you guys have any questions about the CalHFA down payment assistance?
No, do you have a question?
No, so this would just be, so the order of operations for all these things would be like, maybe probably go through the gateway program, talk about maybe a roadmap of available options and possible assistance. And then we'd get like pre-approved and do all that stuff. And then we would go through things like getting like a down payment assistance or a loan or something like that. And then it would go through that. I just want to know like the order of operations.
Yeah. So what we have done here to simplify the process for you guys, it's when you go through this entire webinar, which is, we're over halfway done, we will collect some basic information about you guys. Okay. And then we will determine out of all the programs that we're going to offer today, which ones will fit you better. And then you'll end up talking to one of us, which will then look and see if you qualify within their programs. If you don't, then within ourselves, we'll see who can best guide you. And after that, we'll tell you how much you qualify for, and then you can start the search process with the realtor. Make sense?
That, yes, thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, guys. Have a great day.
You
You
too.
too.
I had a question. Sorry, before you go.
Hi, Jessica.
Yes. I just want to confirm that I understood you correctly.
Okay.
Towards the end of this slide, you said that you will have to pay this home loan again or back. I just want to make sure you gave only two examples, which was two options, which was when you refinance or when you sell the home. I just want to make sure that those are the only options. If you get this loan, that's the only two options you have to pay it back, or is there another option? I just want to make sure.
No, so for this program, CalHFA, there is no third option besides you. Let's say you never sold the house and you never refinance the house. The loans are good for 30 years. Like I said, it says there is a deferred loan. You're never going to be asked to make a single penny of a payment. It doesn't mean that the money that they gave you for the assistance disappeared. It's not a grant. And Reyes, who will come after me, has a grant program that it is forgiven after so many years. This loan right here, it's not forgiven. So most people the average person keeps their house about 5 to 7 years. That's the average. At some point they sell it, at some point they refinance because the rates went down or they want to cash money out of the property. So what that really means is that there's a chance you will do something at some point of your life with this loan, and that's when the money gets paid back. Very few people never touch this and leave it alone, which means that what happens after is you have to just pay back the money they gave you for the assistance. But again, it is this one in particular, it is a loan, so you do have to eventually pay the money back.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
And hey, Pablo, just to clarify something, if I get a nice tax return and I decide I want to apply it to my silent second, can I do that?
Yes, you can. And the beauty of it, we didn't disclose the interest rate of that program. That program is only charging 1% interest. And it actually, that 6% assistance gets split into two different loans. One has only 1% interest. The other half, it's 0% interest. So even if you have the loan for 30 years, you didn't build up this huge amount of interest over the time. So it's very forgiving. And like I said, it's geared towards people that don't qualify because they make more than the minimum. They're not low income families, but yet they make less than 160,000 a year. So yeah, so feel free to ask any questions. I'll be around a few more minutes to answer anything if you guys can think of any other questions, okay?
What is a silent second?
I'm sorry?
What's a silent second?
It means you don't have monthly payments due. So you don't have to, you know how a regular loan you have to pay every month, right? Silent second means that you owe the money. It is a loan, but they don't ask you for a monthly payment.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Pablo. So next we're going to have Mr. Reyes Reese with Union Bank, and he's going to be speaking to you about the WISH program. Reyes, take it away.
Morning, guys. Reyes Reese with Union Bank. Go ahead. So I'm here to talk about the WISH program. This is down payment assistance that we offer to clients. The features of the program, it's a 4x1 matching grant. So the max you can get per family household is 22,000. There's an example there that if you contribute 3,000, they'll match it 4 times. They'll give you 12,000. The max the grant gives out per household is 22,000. So if you divide that by 4, your contribution will be 5,500 to get the max. We encourage people to do that because they get the max that the grant offers. In terms of where the money can be, in terms of your part, it can be a gift funds, either your own funds or gift funds can be used as a contribution. Gift funds means that someone will, specifically family, will give you money to come in with this down payment that is needed to contribute. Which can be layered with other down payment assistance. So if there's any other down payment assistance out there that you can qualify for, you can layer it with it, meaning that you can get more as for down payment and closing costs, and the grant allows that. However, the grant, if there's any other down payment assistance that you qualify for, you can use those funds to meet your minimum requirement of, let's say, the 5,500. The 5,500 must come from your own funds or a gift. Next slide. So this is, earlier, as Paulo was saying, this is not a loan that you have to pay back. This is a grant. So as long as you stay in the house for 5 years for qualified buyers, as long as you stay in the house for 5 years without selling it, you don't have to pay it back. You don't pay anything back. The prerequisites to apply for the grant is you must be a first-time home buyer. The definition means not own a home in the last 3 years. If you do happen to sell it or rent it, you must pay back 20% of whatever year you're at when you do that. You sell in year 3, so there's 2 years remaining. You have to pay 2 years back, as an example. You can refinance. If you get a loan, you have to get a loan through us, through Union Bank. That's called a first. So you get the first through us. And if at any time during those 5 years, rates drop and you do want to refinance, you're allowed to refinance, which would allow you to refinance. You must meet the income at or below 80% of the HUD area median income. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. And that's based on family size. Really key factor here. This is called total household income, meaning that everybody that's going to occupy the house and have income, they work, all the income has to count against the 80%, not just the applicant applying for the loan. Everybody that's going to live in the house and has income has to be counted towards the 80%. And as I said, you do a loan through us, first through us to apply for the grant, WISH grant. Next slide. You can do this talks about the loan products that you can apply to try to get that you can layer in with the WISH grant. It talks about FHA, VA loans for veterans, and conventional financing, whether it's a home ready product or just a straight conventional. This program can be used in anywhere in the West Coast, basically California, Oregon, Washington, Arizona, and Nevada. And really key factor here. Each county, let's talk about California, each county in California or anywhere else has different income limits. So someone buying here versus in the Bay Area, San Francisco, income limits are different there. So that's really important in terms of where you're going to buy your property to occupy it. Next slide. Here's a graph on income limits. If you look at the bottom one, low 80% income limits, it says 43,065, one individual, and you see the persons in family across, and it tells you the income limits based on family size. They highlight a family of 4, 62,300 with the income limit for that family to try to qualify for this grant. Next slide. As Pablo said earlier, we encourage people that if you're ready to buy and committed to buy, you get pre-approved through your lender, whether it's through this program here or outside, make sure you don't go buy anything big. You don't get a car, don't go buy furniture, don't go buy anything, because that could, your pre-approval could be jeopardized if you are pre-approved. We recommend do not go buy anything like that. Your lender should tell you all those things. No new credit, no new debt added. If anything, we tell clients that if you have, let's example, credit card debt, to try to pay it off to zero if it's possible, and maintain it at zero as you do as you shop for a home. Also really important, no job changes. That's also really critical. We get questions by clients that say, hey, I want to switch jobs. I want to go work for another company. We kind of encourage not to do that. Wait till you get the keys to your home, wait till you're closed, and then you can probably do that. It just makes the process a little bit easier in terms of getting your full loan approval at the end. No new inquiries. That means applying for new credit. As I said earlier, don't go applying for buying things ahead of, if you're going to get a house, buying things for the house. Don't do anything like that. It's not recommended. And obviously the last one is really important that you communicate with your lender. You have an open lines of communication with your lender. As Paulo said earlier, about their interest rates is moving up and down, and they're in an upward mobility right now. So you just want to make sure that you're in constant communication with your lender, asking him, hi, how are the rates? How's my pre-approval? I just want to make sure you need, and always provide updated information. Your lender will tell you what is needed as you shop around, and the process prolongs a little bit that you find a home. So it's really key to maintain your pre-approval. Next slide.
Thank you, Reyes. I have a question for you from Miss Jessica. But what if we did switch jobs? What happens?
Yeah, so it is a great question. If you do must switch jobs, remember that we require at least 30 days worth of pay stubs. So you have to provide 2 pay stubs. And also important though, that you're not switching to a completely line of employment that you currently have. So what I mean by that, let me give an example that, let's say, you work at a manufacturer, you get paid hourly, and all of a sudden you go be a car salesman, right? And now they're going to pay you on a commission base. So that's totally different. That would be a big problem, because the flow of income changes now. The underwriter, you no longer have a history of earnings that will make the underwriting department feel comfortable and use your income. All of a sudden you switch from that type of income earnings that now you're going to have, that you won't be approved for that. So it just really depends on what they're going to do and where they're going to go. But again, talking to your lender, we'll go in details with that for you.
Perfect. And then the other question is, how long do we have to wait to apply for WISH?
So WISH at the moment, it's out of funds right now. But every April, May, we start getting funds again. We usually, as we enter here 2023, usually March or so, April, we'll start getting people calling and saying, hey, can you pre-approve me for WISH? And that's when we start looking at their income, because the way WISH works, one of the key factors that they do is they look at your current income, and that means in terms of paperwork, they look at your last 3 pay stubs. And if you provide pay stubs in January, and then we wait all the way till March and your income has changed, then what we told you in January won't apply, because now in March you're earning more money. So it's really, as we get near the start of that, which is typically April, then we start looking at people start calling us a month before and stuff like that, saying, hey, can you look at my paperwork to see if I qualify?
Thank you, Reyes. And so next we're going to have with us Miss Rosie Lopez of Self-Help Federal Credit Union, not to be confused with Self-Help Enterprises. They are 2 completely separate entities. Rosie's going to be talking to us about some of their mortgage loan programs. Rosie, take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Ellie. Good morning. So yeah, as Ellie mentioned, my name is Rosie. I am the mortgage loan officer at Self-Help Federal Credit Union, not Self-Help Enterprises. So we just always want to clarify that, because there always is a lot of confusion. So go ahead and next slide, please. So what Self-Help is, we're actually a credit union. So we are a full functioning bank. We offer checking, savings, CDs, auto loans. So everything that a typical bank offers as well as Self-Help. We offer loans for people who have a social security number or people who hold an ITIN number. So what that difference is the ITIN number is an individual tax identification number. So basically it's a number that you can do your taxes with. So it's not the same thing as a social security. So what we offer, our financial flexibility for home buying is, as mentioned, so we do housing loans for people with Social Security, as well as if they have a DACA. With that, we offer low payment requirements starting at 0%. And then for your credit score, as low as 580 or no credit score. And we offer alternative credit, meaning if you don't have, we pull your credit, and if you don't have any typical auto loan, credit cards, any traditional credit, then we will accept your payments for your electric bill, your water bill, and your rental. But those also have to be really strong in showing that you make those monthly payments on time for the last year. Our payments are, our mortgage payments, as Pablo mentioned, is same thing. We have the PITI, which has the principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and then also usually at higher financial institutions, they offer an additional private mortgage insurance that you'll also see in your payments, which we don't have that in our payments. It's typically like a protector, additional insurance that protects the lender if you default on any payments, if any borrower defaults on any payments. So also our interest rates are fixed, so they don't change for the 30 years that you do have the loan. And then as Ray has mentioned, they are increasing at this time. And then we also do offer self-employed or if you're a W-2 worker to qualify for a loan with us. And then the type of housing, 1 of 4 units, and it has to be your main residence that you live in for us to be able to lend on that home. And then there are no prepaid fines if you choose to pay off the loan sooner than the 30 years. And then we also do refinancing as well. Next slide, please. As well as just mentioned, same thing. If you know anybody who has an ITIN number, we offer them as well as the same thing for Social Security, as I just mentioned. For the down payment, though, it is a requirement of 10% down payment instead of a typical 0 to 5%, depending on where your credit is. We just review your application and determine what product and what loan best fits for you. And then it's the same information as provided, so you can go to the next slide. Okay, and then same thing. So what is different from loans with self-help? So we do offer low down payment requirements, flexible eligibility criteria, variety of loan programs. As mentioned, we just review. We work with each applicant personally, and then guide you into what best product would fit your needs. And then to get started, the required documents that we do need would be your official Social Security or your ITIN letter, as well as your last 2 years of tax returns, included with your W-2s, your last 30 days of your pay stubs, just to be sure that you're currently employed, as well as we just want to see that your income has continued, increased or decreased, just so we can see where you are. And then your last 2 months of bank statements we would require. Okay, next slide, please. Did you have a question?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So this would be the step in the process that, would this also include like the pre-approval step? So we would go through.
Correct.
Got it.
Yeah, so we would require all those documents to get started, to see where, what purchase price that we would be able to pre-qualify you for. Okay. So yes, we would need that. And then here's just my information, my phone number, contact with email. So if you have any additional questions that you'd like to, please reach out. I can also reach out to you guys as well. That's it.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Rosie.
Of course.
Let's see who's next. Okay, so next we have our lovely Midna Garcia with Envision Real Estate, and she's going to be discussing how to hire your agent and what real estate agents do for us. So Midna, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you so much, Aldiva. I really appreciate it. I hope that you're finding all this information helpful. I know it's a lot of data, but this is just to give you an overview of all the things that are available to you. So education about the market, it's really important that your realtor has the pulse on the market and knows what's going on so they can guide you through the process. A good realtor like Lucy, myself, or any realtor of your choice will always know what's going on in today's market. It makes a difference. Analyze your wants and needs. So definitely it's important that we understand what your needs are and wants. Two different things, right? One's more important than the other. We would love to get you everything that you're looking for in a home. Sometimes your first home may not be your forever home. Keep that in mind. We got to start somewhere. Steer you to the home that fits your criteria. That's really important. I like to sit down and have a consultation one-on-one and go over everything and make sure we're on the same page before I take you out to look at properties. We do coordinate the work with all the professionals. We do, obviously, like I mentioned earlier, I always like to recommend the top 4 inspections, which is the home inspection, the pest inspection, the roof inspection, and the line inspection. And if others are needed, then we can obviously always coordinate that for you. We do remind you that if you choose to get your own inspectors, we have recommendations, but then you can choose whoever you like to do your inspections. What we highly recommend is that they're licensed, certified for the job that they're going to do, that they're insured and bonded. If they are not, you run the risk that if someone gets hurt, let's say your roofer falls off the roof, you can be found liable for his injuries if they're not insured and bonded. So it's really important that you hire someone who's insured and bonded. Be aware, okay? Really important. And those inspections also will, if written correctly on a report, we will utilize that to help you negotiate in regards to that home. We talk about negotiating on your behalf. Solve any problems that may arise. We try obviously our best to guide you through the whole process and navigate all the different components that come into play. I don't know if people realize how many people it takes behind the scenes to make homeownership a reality. Easily, we have about 22 people working behind the scenes. You usually only deal with your realtor and your lender, but we have a team of people working behind the scenes that are trying to make homeownership a reality for each family. All right, we'll move on to the next screen. Find your home. So let's define what you're looking for. What are your needs and wants? Learn about the market and refine your search. That's something that as a realtor, we love to provide you all the information, give you options, and let you choose which path you'd like to go down. But we're going to guide you throughout the whole process. You're not in this alone. Some of the things you should look for in your agent is some of the things that your agent looks out for. So an agent's going to look at the layout, the space, location. You look for, my apologies. You look for the layout, you look out for the space, you look at where it's located to work and school. You're also going to look at some of the features and amenities. And as a realtor, we look at houses a little different. And that's why you hire a professional, right? We're there to help you through this whole process. How does the home compare in terms of the size, layout, value of other homes? What is the potential resale value of that home? Like Lisa mentioned earlier, sometimes you do decide that you want to leave that house a little early. Let's say you, after 3 to 5 years, you decided this home doesn't work for you no more, and you want to move into your next home. We're going to make sure that that house has that potential resale value there, right? So that's why we do the consultation and we hear you out to make sure we understand what your short-term and long-term goals are, and that house will allow you to do that. That's really important. Big ticket items, we do look at the roof, the HVAC, which is your heating, ventilation, air conditioning. HVAC is your heating and air conditioning element. That's HVAC. Structural concerns. So, sometimes there is houses that I had one recently that I approached with a client, and right off the bat, there was a huge tree growing in the patio area, very close to the house. Unfortunately, the house had structural issues due to the roots growing underneath that house, and it cracked the foundation. The cracks went up the wall. The tree limbs were right directly on the roof. All that debris piled up, and it caused some leakage. So we look at houses a little different as realtors compared to someone who obviously doesn't look at houses every day. I've been doing this for 13 years now, and I think I've about seen almost everything here. All right, inspections and repairs, that's really important. I think I've mentioned it a couple of times at this point, all the inspections that I highly recommend. There is a diversity of inspections that you're able to obtain. And you did mention what is the cost? I would say easily between $600 to $800 is what I would allot aside for those inspections. You definitely want to get your inspections. I think at the end of the day, let's say that you choose not to. I've had people that choose not to, and that's okay. It's your right to waive your inspections if you choose to do so. But unfortunately, I've had families who have done that, and later on they find out they have a plumbing issue that's going to cost them $8,000. That's scary. So I think it's better to know upfront what you're getting into and see if we can negotiate those repairs for you, get you a credit, reduce the price, or you can choose to walk away, right? Pre-existing houses are going to have something. So I don't ever want you to be scared. As a matter of fact, my house I purchased, I had $18,000 worth of work. I accepted and I chose to move on with the purchase of that home because I saw it as a honey-do list. And over time, I would take care of those items. None of them were structural, nothing major, but things that needed to be resolved over time. But you need to know what you are getting into before you close on your transaction. Really important. All right, don't sweat the small stuff. So yes, there's the big stuff is what's important. Like I mentioned, the structure, right? Cracks, crumbling of the foundation, cracks inside the house or the windows, water stains in the ceiling, floors, or walls, obviously a sign of a water intrusion somewhere. Faded or worn shingles, plumbing or electrical problems, mold or termite issues. Those are the big items. Don't worry about the little things, right? Let's focus on the bigger things that cost money, because at the end of the day, we don't want you to have to choose between having to do that kind of repair once you're in your home and having to pay your mortgage, right? We want you to stay in your home long term and make that sustainable. All right, pre-close. So these are some of the things that we definitely want you to keep in mind. Like we've mentioned, keep yourself mortgage worthy. The lenders have gone over that with all of you in regards to what it takes to stay mortgage worthy and not impact that until you want to get your keys in hand. That's our goal. Get your keys. So don't do anything that would jeopardize your mortgage. Don't go buy a car. Don't go buy a diamond ring. None of that. Make sure you get your keys first. Budget for additional expenses. Closing costs can be 3 to 4% of the loan amount. That includes your lender fees, appraisal. Earnest money deposit is usually about 1% of the purchase price. The option period money can be between $100 to $400. And as mentioned, $80 to $600, I would say now, because the cost has gone up, a lot, about $800 for inspections. Miscellaneous fees, 1 year homeowner insurance. That one's really important, that you get a home warranty. Reserves for improvements, repairs after the sale, and then doing your final walkthrough. Really important steps. All right, at this time, I'll go ahead and ask Lucy to take over. And if you have any questions, Lucy and I would be happy to answer after she's done with the next slides.
This might be a silly question, but I just don't know. You only pay for the inspection, like when you basically you won the right to buy the house. Like, is this basically like you've been approved to buy the house? They picked you or something? And
Great question.
And this is when and at that time you pay for the inspection, or is it before everything?
No, so once you're in contract, once you have gotten your offer accepted and you're in contract, at that time is when we start the process. You have 17 days per your standard contract to complete all your inspections. And that's our job as realtors to guide you through that. But great question. I do not recommend paying for any inspections before having your offer accepted, right? And being in contract. But really good question. Thank you for that.
So another question. So if you do your inspections, they say, oh, this is messed up and it's like possibly cost you $18,000 at the end of the line or something. Could you use that as a bargaining chip, or as after you do the contract, that's it? And so you can't really say, hey, can you knock this off or anything, because you've already submitted your offer and it's been accepted?
So when you do, and that's a really good question. When you submit your offer, you are submitting it as is, right? In its current condition as you saw it. Once you do inspections, obviously there's going to be findings. Those become negotiable items. Some people think it's a must, or that there's no negotiation. There is, it's all negotiable. So yes, we will sit down and go over all the inspections, and we would draft up, if you wish to do so, a request for repairs. And on that request for repairs, there's a variety of options that you can choose from, but it's all negotiable.
So So my question, so I guess, okay, so like, let's say that happens and they say, no, I don't want to do that. Then, and you're like, well, maybe, I can't move forward with this house or something. Then would you lose your money on those inspections? Or if like, or let's say, they wanted to go through with some of the repairs, but not all of them, then would that knock down the price of the house?
So there's a variety of options that we go over with you on that request for repairs. And it can be whether you choose to ask for the items to be repaired by the seller. You choose to do a 50-50, right? They'll do some, you do some. After close, obviously you wouldn't want, there's different ways to navigate through it. You can ask for a credit, right? You can ask for, and that credit would be towards recurring and non-recurring closing cost. Or you can do a price reduction. Or the one that we don't like is canceling. Because once you cancel, yes, those funds that you have utilized towards those inspections are non-refundable. They cannot be refunded. The individuals have completed their job. So we can't ask the home inspector or roof inspector, line inspector, pest inspector, hey, it didn't work out. Thank you for doing the job, but we want a refund.
Yeah. So if you say, hey, we want to go ahead and get a price reduction of the house because of these repairs, can they deny that request and then not go through with the sale of the house to you?
Yes, it's all negotiable. All items are negotiable.
So then if we lost money on those inspections, could the homeowner be liable for that? Or like, could they pay for those things? Or would we just lose out that money?
Not usually, because it's for your best interest to get those inspections, right?
And I do have one last question that ties into that. You mentioned we would pay for this inspection after the sign, or like after we got the contract. Will we be in violation of some type of clause like in the contract if we decide, because you said you can walk away from the purchase? Are you going to be penalized for walking away?
So
let's say it's terrible, like we find a lot of major things that we don't want to do. Would we be penalized for walking away at that point? Because
that's a great question. And so there's a timeline. Lucy and myself and realtors have been in this industry for a while. They'll walk you through the timeline. One of those timelines is you have 17 days to do all your inspections.
Got you. Okay.
And then the next one is 21 days. That day 21, if you are given contingency removal from the seller's agent to you saying, hey, at this point, this is your last opportunity. Pretty much, I'm just going to sum it up in a way that makes sense. This is your last opportunity to negotiate any items that you want, whether it be a price reduction, credit, repairs, or you want to cancel, you want to walk away. When you get that day 21, that's pretty much your last opportunity to turn back. Right? To say, I want out. This is too much for me. I don't like what I see. I'm done. Perfect. Obviously, we don't want that to happen because you make an offer and you love the home. We try and obviously our best to come to an agreement that works for all parties involved. But yes, at day 21, that's pretty much your last opportunity to turn around without your earnest money deposit being at risk. Because that's what's at risk.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Lucy, did you want to add to that?
Yes, yeah, and everything that Mirna said is perfectly fine. And I just wanted to add that when you get that estimate, when the lender, there's an estimate there for those repairs. So you're thinking, oh, this is additional to what my lender said. So my lender said that I need to have $15,000, and now they're telling me that I need to do inspection. When they give you that estimate, that amount, it's in there. So it's included in that estimate of those 15,000. And another thing that I wanted to add, depending on the type of loan that you get, some of the inspections will be required. So for some people, it can be like, no, I don't want to pay for anything. I just want to save that money. But if the loan requires some inspection, then they need to be performed. So that's something that I just wanted to add there.
Thank you, Lucy. Great questions, Daniel. I appreciate it. All right, you ready for the next one, Lucy?
Yes.
All right.
So protecting your investment. So this is something that we like to discuss too, you know, and when we do these inspections, the inspector usually tells you, okay, this is what is going on with the house, and they give you tips to maintain your investment. You know, it's good for you to, you know, check on the regular basis, you know, your plumbing and your electricity, and of course you don't want things to go bad. So they will give you suggestions, and of course it's up to you to follow them. And then keep an eye for little things, you know, if there's like leaks or things like that. It's very important to go back to those reports, because some little things are negotiable, like the big things are negotiable, but the little things are things that we can fix on our own. So that report is going to belong to you. You can keep it and you can review it in the future, and you can fix the little things on your own. And of course, the home warranty is very important to get a home warranty, because you are pretty much getting into a new home that is unknown to you. So that home warranty protects you for a year. So let's say that the day that we do the inspections, everything is working, you know, the food disposal is working and the dishwasher is working, but then like 2 weeks later, nothing's working. So that home warranty is going to protect you. And they, of course, you know, there's the service charge, but they will come and they will fix things for you with that home warranty. And that you can cover as much of the house as you want or as little. Like there's programs that they can cover, like even your fridge, your washer and dryer. So depending on what coverage you want to have, of course, you know, you can choose all of that. I want to go with the next slide. And, you know, after, you know, we give you the keys and then we go over all these things, and congratulations, you're a homeowner and we can give you the keys of your home. Do you guys have any questions? I know that we cover a lot and we go here and there, but do you guys have any questions in particular that you would like us to go over?
No. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. This is our last Llaves de tu Casa for 2022. I did post a link to our Facebook page at the beginning of the chat. If you could please follow it, that way you can be informed. If you have any friends or family that would like to go through this and get any questions answered. Jessica, Daniel, if you guys have any questions at all, please ask us. We're here right now. We're more than happy to answer them. Even if you think it might be a silly question, no question silly. So if you guys want to ask us anything before we end this for the day?
Aldiva, would you mind sharing with what you do and how you're one of our key partners in all of this as well?
Yeah, of course. So I do own Recovery Credit Repair. So when you have collections, charge-offs, anything negative on your credit, we work to remove those items from your credit report. And our goal is to get them removed without you having to pay them back. If any of you are using Credit Karma to review your credit report, deduct about 45 points from your Credit Karma, and that's where you're going to be to qualify to buy a home. Because when you're applying to buy a home, your mortgage loan officer is pulling a FICO 2, 4, and 5. So it's a completely different algorithm, and it's based on a different permissible purpose. So that's just a little key in that. And if you ever want a free credit evaluation before you reach out to a lender, you're more than happy to. If you want to you're more than welcome to. If you want to reach out to your local lenders first, and then they would refer you over to us if you need help. You could start that way too. It's whatever you are most comfortable with.
Thank you for that, Aldiva. I appreciate it. So you do have a diversity of professionals here with us today. You have lenders, you have realtors, you have credit specialists, you have Alicia with self-help. They have such a diverse amount of programs available. At the end of the day, we're trying to wrap all the services around you to help the community increase home ownership. So please take advantage of this time. Ask any questions you may have, because we won't be back until January. And in January, we'll be going to in-person, and we'll be doing it from Self-Help Credit Union location. And more than likely, we'll probably do a hybrid. We're not 100% sure, but we definitely look forward to continuing to do this into 2023. We do have a commitment to our community and city of Fresno for 5 years.
Yeah, and Jessica, you have your hand up, so please ask your question.
Yes. I guess the first question would just be about the WISH grant program. Does anyone, I don't remember seeing a slide with contact information, but can someone share the contact information or who would be the point of contact for that program?
Yeah,
On the chat, please.
it's
And
actually on the chat, but I will copy and
Oh, is
paste it again for you right now so that way it's fresh.
Which one would it be?
It's the one that says local lender Reyes Reese with
Yeah.
Union Bank.
Oh, I don't see
And
that.
there's
Yes,
Reyes right there.
Thank
I'm
you.
copying and pasting it right now.
Thank you. I do have a second question. I have a concern, and this is just a realistic issue, is that right now in the Valley, I think, I'm not sure how the market looks like right now, but there's not a lot of homes are for sale, at least within my personal budget. And I wanted to know what are some things that I need to keep in mind? Like say if I'm considering of moving out of the county or looking for homes outside of Fresno County. Just because at least like I feel like sometimes the market is really competitive. At least when I did look, I just wanted to be realistic and have that conversation. Like these programs are great. But what are some things that you will have done or experienced during a competitive market?
Can I ask you, so that our realtors can answer that for you, what is your budget? Where do you foresee buying more or less?
I think 250 to 300. I
Okay.
don't think anything more than that. But for my experience last year, the year before that, it was very difficult to find something because the homes would sell like really quickly.
Well, Jessica, the market has changed quite drastically in just the last 2.5 months. And as I mentioned earlier, it's now in the favor of the buyer. I have seen a reduction in prices. In some areas, 25%, some is 12%. There's a variety. And I definitely know that there is homes under 300,000 that would qualify for a lot of these programs, FHA, even VA. So there's options. I would say if it's been a while since you have approached this and tackled it, I think it's time, Jessica, to take a look again and talk to one of these lenders that's on here today and let them review where you're at and get you going. If homeownership is something that you really want, do not be discouraged and don't take no for an answer. I don't do no's. There is a way, and we will find a way as long as you're willing to do the work that's needed. And our lender partners here will give you homework. If you ask for homework, say, hey, I understand it's not right now, but I want to buy a home. Will you tell me what it's going to take? Realistically, how long and how? I want to do it. Right, Reyes?
Yes, I can add to that, Jessica, that is really important, as we said earlier on one of the slides, that if you are pre-approved or looking to get pre-approved, to stay in contact with your lender, whether you utilize one of us here or you have your own lender, because of the changing environment that we're in. I mean, and typically just the interest rates, right? They keep going up little by little. So you just want to make sure though that you are updating your pre-approval, and that you are still qualifying for that $250,000 to $300,000 range, because with higher interest rates, that could change in terms of maybe a lower pre-approval. Also, if you're looking to go outside of the whatever area you live, talk to your lender. There's products out there, such as USDA loan that it's out for rural housing. There's no down payment on that product. We didn't really talk about too much into that. But it's talking to your lender to stay in communication to see what's available for you, depending on your situation that you're looking to buy, when you're looking to buy, and just to make sure that you are ready when that opportunity comes.
Alicia,
Yes.
Rosie, would either one of you, someone else like to add to that? Thank you, Reyes.
Thank you. I would like to add something else too. It's always good to stay in good communication with your realtor, because sometimes we have properties that are off the market, that we can get you in contact with. Like, for example, I have one right now that is a divorce situation. So they don't want to list